Oh.
Thank you for supporting the Spent the Rent podcast. If you would like to donate to the show, go to the podcast official website to find out how.
That was not actually John Madden, just so you know.
No?
No, because that would get me in trouble. This is the non-corporate.
It is Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah.
You are listening to the Spent the Rent podcast. And now, here's your host, Patty Rose.
Hello, I am Patty Rose. Welcome to the...
Hey, that's Patty Rose. I'm Cameron Derby, the KEZI sports director.
Who's the host here, there, guy? Welcome to the Super Bowl sports game spectacular. I don't have the corporate rights to say the other thing.
I do.
Okay. Did you hear that? He has the clearance. Before we talk about Taylor Swift and the big corporate sports game, I want to talk about my guest. Thank you for being here. Cameron Derby is the sports director for KEZI 9. Is that ABC in the local affiliate? That's my morning go-to. You guys are fun. And we've been friends for a long time. I've been following your career and cheerleading as you went from college student to Medford to Eugene, being the sportscaster on the television news, and then spread it, going around the country to different sporting events and getting on TikTok and all that fun stuff. So you have a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but thanks again for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. For the people watching that don't know, he has been, when he says he's been a big supporter, he's been one of the biggest supporters actually of my career. So I've always been appreciative of that. Thanks for having me back.
You're welcome. And it's cool. I mean, I just think that we should all encourage each other in every aspect of life. Yay. Okay. Anyway, so this is big. Super Bowl tomorrow. We're going to talk about that. But before we do, I want to talk a little bit about what you've been doing. You've been doing a lot of prep sports, a lot of basketball, the Friday roundup. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good week. I mean, my barber did a pretty crappy job on my hair this week. And other than that,
that's me. That's me.
Yeah, the playoffs for high school basketball are coming around. We do the round ball wrap at 11:15 every Friday, and before that, I do a live call of a game at 7:00 on our secondary channel. But high school basketball is getting so much fun. There's a lot of good teams in our area right now. I think in 4A in the Western Oregon region, there's 4 teams ranked in the top 10 right now. In 6A, we've got some really good teams for girls basketball. I called the game from Junction City last night. Junction City versus Cottage Grove. That place was electric.
Yeah.
Those people love their Tigers.
I didn't make it, but I want to give a shout out to the Pleasant Hillbillies and Cash Dudley.
Yes. The Billy Barn.
George Dudley is the owner of the barbershop that I work at, and his son plays for Pleasant Hill. And George has been extremely passionate all season long. I work next to him and I listen to him complain about refs, complain about the coaching, and they're super passionate. I just wanted to say real quick, I want to give a shout out to all the moms and dads that encourage their kids, and to the coaches and refs and the nerds that do the players' homework during the season. There's so much that goes into prep sports that I want to give a shout out to the unsung heroes. But yeah, that's cool that you got to work on that. I know you've always been passionate about local sports. I know you're big into the national stuff, but that's kind of what I'm all about, the local stuff too. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl and some big name stuff, but we always like to keep it local. So
yeah, I mean, I grew up in small Southern Oregon. Our biggest team in the area was the SOU Raiders, and the Oregon Tech Owls that were over the mountains in Klamath Falls. But I've always loved going to high school games. That's where I fell in love with, a lot of things, was at football games, at basketball games. When I was a kid, the South Medford basketball team was huge.
Oh, yeah.
They were ranked the top 10 nationally. It's battles with Lake Oswego.
Yeah, nice plug for our own podcast in the past. We talked about South Medford and Kyle Singler versus Kevin Love from Lake Oswego. We got into that.
And fun kind of roundabout story here. Next week, our game of the night at 7:00 on our secondary channel is going to be the South Medford girls playing against Willamette.
Oh, nice.
Two of the best teams in the state. They're both top 5 teams in the state. Willamette has a real shot to do something. Nice. They'll have to get past South Medford first, though. That's a girls' powerhouse.
Nice. So tune into are you guys still doing those? There's a couple more?
Yeah, there's at least one more. It's called the Round Ball Wrap. It's at 11:15 on KEZI 9. And so there's at least one more. Usually if we get enough teams into the playoffs, we'll do a postseason edition or 2, but that's kind of to be determined still.
Nice. Okay, so I was proud of the segue. I literally in my notes wrote down, I'm proud of this segue. I said, tomorrow basketball season will have to wait for one more day. Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas will kick off at 3:30 p.m. on your rival station that rhymes with Roblox.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does rhyme with that. The Oregon men's basketball, they don't have to wait another day. They play at 2:00 today.
You were going to go to that, and that's changed. You're going to
I'm going to go see my dad.
Play some bingo.
Yeah. Family is the most important thing.
That's
my
true.
dad called me on the phone and said, I miss you. I'd like to see you. I said, let's meet halfway. So I'll go there and catch the second half of the game. I see so many Ducks games. It'll be okay if I miss one.
So, but you told me off air that Dana Altman is that everyone's injured. Dana Altman might suit up, and he's losing years off of his life because he's so stressed out. But you think tonight is a huge game for the Ducks. Explain why.
The Ducks and Washington State are tied for second place in the Pac-12 right now. Tonight will be for sole possession of second place. And they're both on the bubble in terms of the NCAA tournament. The Ducks, the last I saw in Joe Lunardi's bracketology, the Ducks were the first 4 out of the group. So they could use every quality win heading down towards the Pac-12 tournament. And you mentioned Dana Altman loses years off his life. There's a really funny tweet. I can't remember who tweeted it going around. Sorry, X, formerly known as Twitter, a post. Is that what I'm supposed to call it now?
It's called Elon Musk now.
There was an Elon Musk that Dana Altman is the one who aligns Rubik's cubes. The Ducks are consistently injured. They are injured this year. Nate Biddle recently has been out for like a week and a half with an illness.
Yeah.
They keep winning.
Yeah.
And the other night it was funny because
sometimes adversity for a basketball team is what it takes, though, to come together and to win games.
Well, and you look at Dana Altman's past with Oregon. It's a lot of transfers. It's not a lot of big name recruits. It's a lot of transfers, different lineups. So he's very used to making puzzle pieces fit together at random times. And a lot of times Oregon gets kind of like halfway through the season and people start to get uneasy because the team doesn't look very good. And then all of a sudden at the end, they're one of those teams that nobody wants to play against.
Right.
But it was interesting because the press conference we had with him after the Oregon-Washington game, Oregon was up by 20 with 10 minutes left. They were only up by 1 with 3 minutes left. And they ended up beating Washington, and they sweep Washington, and it's an important win. And we walked into the press conference going, Dana Altman's not going to be as thrilled about this as everybody else.
Losing years off his life. That's what I mean. So, you ruined my segue. I was going to say, basketball has to wait, but tonight there is a game. So as soon as the game ends,
basketball will wait again.
Basketball can wait for like 12 more hours. And
the NBA can wait.
Whatever. Exactly. So we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, and then we're going to play a couple games. So first of all, I want to hear real quick your favorite Super Bowl memory. But before I do, I'm going to tell mine. My favorite Super Bowl memory is when Neil O'Donnell actually, I believe, threw the game. Like I think that the Mafia was involved. He threw so many interceptions that the last one, I know he was frustrated because when he went to the sideline, he threw his helmet and it got intercepted for a touchdown.
Well, Paul Crew threw a game too, right? Was it the Super Bowl that Paul Crew threw? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Allegedly. But Neil O'Donnell, I was a Steelers fan only because I hated the Cowboys so much. I was a Niners fan, kind of. I was trying to find my team. I was young. And I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade. And Neil O'Donnell threw like 4 picks or something like that, 5, 6, something like that. And I'm pretty sure he threw the game. If you Google it,
the number has swelled from 3 to 6 in the last 30 seconds.
I think he's continued to throw them as time goes on. Yeah, that's the point. So what is your favorite Super Bowl memory? I don't know. Oh, the Seahawks. Yeah, you can't, for the audio listeners, he's pointing at his jersey.
Super Bowl 48, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So now I'm officially living in the past.
Yeah.
Best day of my life.
Yeah.
A lot of people consider Super Bowl 48 to be the worst Super Bowl in history because it was going to be Peyton Manning and the best offense of all time, arguably, versus Seahawks, one of the best defenses of all time. They were in the conversation with the 85 Bears, and everyone expected it to be just a smackdown, and it was a smackdown in a bad direction. A 43-8 game. It was over at halftime.
Wow. Yeah.
No one saw that coming. No one saw that happening, even me, to Peyton Manning.
I don't remember a lot of Super Bowls because, as I've been public on the podcast, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and so I don't. I remember a lot of them, not remembering them. So
my worst Super Bowl memory, and you're a lot better now.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. 8 years, over 8 years sober. So I'm going to give a shout out to and a little preview to what's coming today on this podcast. joining us. He's in the green room right now, but joining us remotely. We're gonna in a little bit. We're gonna be joined in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We're gonna be joined by Northwest hip hop legend Mac Dub. So that's pretty exciting for the sports game.
I can see him reacting right now.
Yeah,
I can't tell what jersey he's wearing.
Yeah,
is that Redskins stuff?
I don't know. We'll get to it. And you can't say Redskins on this show.
The Commanders, but it is the logo. It is.
Before we get to Mac Dub, I have one more thing I wanted to mention, and then we'll play a little game, and then we'll get to Mac Dub. So we're going to talk about the Ducks and the local connection to the Super Bowl. 2 Ducks will be playing in the Super Bowl. Both are members of the San Francisco 49ers. You know who they are. Tell me who they are.
They are Eric Armstead and Diamador Lenore.
Yeah, that's correct. What are the odds that we'll start with Eric Armstead? What are the odds that he could win MVP? Is it possible? I mean, off the top of your head, what do you think?
I don't think that it's possible for either one of them to win MVP.
That's because,
not just because of, their performances or whatever, but because of all the big name players.
It's usually
that are
a quarterback, maybe, but it can be a defensive player. So what I would look out for, I think it's worth the bet throwing $2 at it, something fun if the odds are even listed. But
I hate to interrupt you. We were just talking about my favorite Super Bowl memory of all the big name players that were in Super Bowl 48. Do you know who the MVP of the game was?
I do not remember. Like I had said,
linebacker.
That's my point.
Malcolm Smith.
Yes, and linebackers will get, if you get a couple picks, a defensive end. If he gets like a couple tip passes and then you get 2 interceptions, one's returned to the house, then you're looking at a second
fumble recovery, or
second
something
on the depth chart defensive tackle that's going to get the MVP. So I think it could happen for Eric Armstead. I'm giving it a 40-1.
Are you going to put money on it?
I no comment if I've put money on almost everything. I've got about $50-60, but I will say that I had put $15 on the Chiefs back in December, and so that was plus 950 at the time. Right now it's plus 100, so that I'm feeling good about that. That one would pay about $150 if they win. So that's something. Hey, keep it smart. I don't bet more than $20. That's my limit. My time limit though is the rest of my life. So I'm not good. I'm not good there. But so let's go into we're gonna play a little bit of a game. This is the first ever. The game is called Mostly Incorrect. There really are no rules, but you are going to mostly be incorrect. So I'm just gonna start with the first one, and we'll go from there. The first one is Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady.
Brady.
That's incorrect. Okay. Second one. We're gonna go Dion or Barry Sanders.
Barry.
That is actually also incorrect. I would like to explain why, but we do not have time, actually, so deal with it. So the game is in Vegas, and we love Justin Herbert here in Oregon. So next year, which team, this is a prediction, which team wins more games, the Chargers or the Raiders?
Jim Harbaugh joins the Chargers. Give me the Chargers.
That is incorrect. They're both going to win less than...
We're in Eugene. That's impossible to be incorrect.
I have no idea what's going to happen, but I know that you're incorrect. So next year, here's another prediction. This is for college football. Will the Oregon Ducks win the national championship next season?
Yes.
That is incorrect. That is incorrect. We do not have that kind of luck, and we do not have what it takes yet.
The grass is damn green in Eugene.
Who will score the first touchdown in This is question number 5.
Okay.
Who will score the first touchdown in Super Bowl 58?
Travis Kelce.
That is incorrect. That is incorrect. He's actually going to score all of the touchdowns after the first touchdown. The first touchdown is going to be scored.
Christian McCaffrey?
Yes. We're going to go with that. Okay. Just whatever you had, the answer is wrong. Okay. We have one more, and then we're going to get Mac Dub on here. This is a really tough one. Taylor Swift or Beyonce? That is incorrect. That is incorrect.
Yeah, I knew that this was going to be incorrect from the start. Can I actually answer it though?
Sure.
99.9% of the time, Beyonce, but for this weekend only, Taylor Swift.
Did you hear that, folks? One weekend only, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Flying in on the jet plane.
Beyonce.
Flying in on the jet plane, making future billionaires finally care about.
Beyonce has played in the Super Bowl halftime show twice.
I just like that Taylor Swift. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a bit. But I just like that Taylor Swift is making future billionaires. That's what I call Republicans. But she's making future billionaires for the first time ever care about climate change and about
that's a fair point.
Using a jet. They're like, I can't believe her. Can you believe it? Anyway, let's move on. We're gonna bring hip hop legend, Northwest hip hop legend Mac Dub to the show. Mac Dub, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, sir. How are we this afternoon?
Oh, this is just going amazing. We're having the sports game spectacular.
He's a musician. He has to answer question number 6.
Number
as
6.
well.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Mac Dub, we're gonna ask you some questions. First question: Taylor Swift or Beyonce? That is incorrect.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we have 3 questions.
Great bit, by the way. Great bit, by the way. I'm glad that Cameron got a beat down before I got here. So I hope that you're a little nicer to me.
Thank you for sitting. I didn't know exactly how long that would take for our intro, and I was like, "Hey, sit. You get to sit in the green room. This is the first time we've done that." So he was watching the show from the back. That was kind of fun.
And I was having a great time. It was awesome.
So we're gonna ask 3 questions, and for each question that you get right, I'm gonna donate $10 to a local nonprofit of your choice. And by your choice, I mean Shelter Care.
Okay.
Shelter provides a range of housing programs and services to individuals and family who are experiencing or on the verge of homelessness. I chose that for you. I like things to be about choice, but I like them to be my choice. So
I like it as well, sir.
For your choice. Shelter Care is great. Donate to Shelter Care at sheltercare.org. And we're going to ask 3 questions, like I said, and then however many you get right, I'll donate $10 each to Shelter Care. Thanks for choosing them. Mac Dub, this is awesome. I wanted to have you on because you're a hip hop legend, 40 years in the game. I know you've been making talk about that real quick. Talk about the remixes you've been working on.
Yeah. So I just, for about the last year, I've just been mostly doing music production. I've been on the other end of it for about the 20 plus years, just mostly writing and taking care of the vocal side of stuff. But just kind of fell back in love with the music production and just been doing anything I can, finding singers to sing, rappers to rap, but also been doing some remixes. And so I did the Dear Mama one a couple days ago. Couldn't get the hook into the remix, which is kind of the best part of the song. So it was a challenge because when you get the stuff from AI, they'll separate everything for you. And sometimes they just have trouble with some of the frequencies. So it was a little dicey, but it came out pretty good. I'm happy with it. I'm having fun. I'm old. I'm just doing what I do.
AI music. So that's awesome. You've been doing this for 40 years plus or something like that. And now you're messing with the AI. So that's pretty exciting. So look up Mac Dub. So let's get to the questions. First question: what Oregon running back has won 3 Super Bowl rings?
Oh my God. So it's either, do I only get one answer?
You can guess. I'll give you a couple.
LeGarrette Blount.
That is correct. LeGarrette Blount has 3 Super Bowl rings, 2 with the Patriots, 1 with the Eagles.
That's right.
This one, I know you're a musician, so you absolutely should know this. Who performed at the Super Bowl 34 halftime show in the year 2000? You guys all know each other, so
I just want to say to the organization that you're donating to, I'm sorry. So 2000. I mean,
This you should have to give him $10 for every single one that he gets because there's multiple.
okay, we'll give a hint, and I'll do that. Okay,
2000. Oh my gosh.
do you have a guess?
I was waiting for. I thought maybe I heard I might be getting a hint.
Okay, so no, the correct answer is Christina Aguilera, Enrique Iglesias, Phil Collins, and Tony Braxton. I thought you would know that one.
Yeah, I plead marijuana. I'm sorry. Sorry, Shelter Care. My bad, Shelter Care.
Already, so we're at $10, so it's not a total loss. What was question 3? This is the final question for Shelter Care. What was the largest point differential in Super Bowl history?
I mean, you mean like by exact points? I seem to have a memory of the 49ers kicking the bleep out of the Chargers one year.
Close. I mean, close. One more. You got the first part right.
So it was the Niners, and I thought it was.
Same division.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're just going to be donating $10 because I just don't know. I feel like I'm failing everybody right now.
For the steal.
It's the Broncos. 55-10.
55-10. That is correct. 55-10. We're going to go ahead and give Shelter Care that one. So we'll be donating.
There we
20
go. Thank you. Thank you, Cameron. Yes, thank you.
in care of Mac Dub, Northwest hip hop legend. Hey, let's get a round of applause for Mac Dub. I don't know if we should.
Hey, I just wanted to say, I don't know if you noticed, but I got my anybody know who this is right here?
Your stuff
Jurgensen. He's got a Jurgensen jersey, so he's got the Packers going on.
No, this is a Sonny Jurgensen jersey. He played for the Redskins in the 60s and 70s. And I got my old school, I got my old school hat on, I'm old, so I keep it old school.
That's awesome. So hey, Mac Dub, much shout out my brother. Anyone listening, Mac Dub's music is everywhere. Check it out.
Does he have a prediction?
Hip-hop.
Let him do a prediction.
Yeah, let's hear your prediction for the game, and we're gonna keep going.
Oh man, oh gosh. 31-27 KC, but I'm gonna root for the Niners.
On board. You're correct.
Okay,
but I'm gonna root for the Niners.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thank you, brother. Always nice to see you.
All right, so that was cool. So Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Pfizer, Aaron Carter, and everyone else are just trying to raise awareness that the world needs more looking out for each other. I probably did not mean Aaron Carter, but that's not the point. Our mental health is all in question when we compete in life. That's why sports are rads. It's a distraction from the real life division, and pop culture is sometimes just there to debate and have it, not actually matter. We need to remember that these people are people, that these are human beings. I know you work in the media, and so we've talked about this on the podcast as well, that it's fun, to have some shenanigans, clown on each other a little bit, but we have to keep it within reason.
Yeah, I mean, part of football is trash talk, right? Smack talk with your friends. But like the Bills kicker, for example, got death threats all week. Had to take all of his social media down. That's ridiculous. There's as adults, as adult human beings, there's no reason to be behaving like that in any scenario, especially a football game.
Right. No, absolutely. I know we got somber for a minute, but and I just threw in that Aaron Carter joke.
Part of what you said in there is really important. I said before we started the show, one of my favorite quotes that I have always, people ask me, why do you love sports? I always go to this quote in How I Met Your Mother. Ted Mosby, there's an episode where they watch the Super Bowl, and at the end of it, they're all together, and Ted Mosby says, sports distract us from our problems, even if just for a little bit.
That's it.
And that's exactly why I do, because when I go watch the game, when I'm with my friends, we're watching the game, we're not thinking about bills. We're not thinking about all the stupid stuff that's going on outside of the room. We're just watching a game, having a good time. That's why we're in love with it.
And that's why I like having you on, because I'm proud of your trajectory in your career and how you started with a dream and that you continue to live it. But also because every once in a while I do cover a lot of political stuff, a lot of stories of the underrepresented. I just want to talk about an old football game. And so let's do that. Let's talk about game day predictions. My prediction is Chiefs 17-14. I kind of think that they're going to start out pretty slow, kind of like they did against the Ravens, the Chiefs. And but I don't know if that was what I'm going with, but I think it's going to be tough to keep the Niners offense to only 14 points. So what's your prediction for the game?
Yeah, the Niners only score 14. That's bold. I would say that's bold. I mean, there's so many weapons all over the field. However, the Chiefs have the best defense in football. And this is a hard. I haven't even actually made a prediction on my social media stuff yet, but I guess this is the best place to officially go for it.
Breaking news right here on the Spent the Rent podcast.
So my thought process behind it is, any of these two teams could win, but at the end of the day, I have to choose one to trust. And if I choose one to trust, the 49ers, I've watched go to the Super Bowl. I've watched go to the NFC Championship several times in the last 5 years. And I've also watched the Chiefs go, and I've watched one of those two teams get it done several times. And it seems like you can't throw anything at the Chiefs without them figuring it out, especially in the postseason this year. And I think that the path to the Super Bowl has been dramatically more difficult for the Chiefs, who've had to play against the Ravens, one of the best defenses in football. Right, they had to play against the Bills and the Tundra, and all of us said, they're finally going to have to go on the road and play. Are they going to get it done? Is Josh Allen going to get the last laugh on this? They went and controlled the Bills in Buffalo in those frigid temperatures. So the 49ers have been playing against, I wouldn't say mediocre teams, but not as great teams, and they've also been playing from behind. I think that if the 49ers fall behind by 10 points or more, they're in serious danger.
Yeah.
I don't see you coming back against Patrick Mahomes the way you can come back against the Lions.
No,
or
it
the
seems like
Packers.
this version of the Chiefs, it seems like they can be slow and methodical. They almost have to because they don't have that kind of deep, like quick threat like they have in the past. So I think if you're making prop bets, I think Pachenko is going to get a lot of touches. And I think they're gonna. I mean, I think he's over the 87 yards that people are. That's the number, and I think he's gonna hit that
In the same breath, because I know some people are watching. They're going, he's wearing a Seahawks jersey. He just hates the 49ers, which I do hate the 49ers.
Sure,
grew up hating the 49ers, but
they've hurt
in the
him.
same breath. They can smack you in the mouth fast. We've seen it twice now where they can just all of a sudden, rifle off 25 points and they're right back in the game. They have so many weapons. The offensive versus defensive. To me, this game's not even about Patrick Mahomes. It's about the Chiefs defense.
Well, it's
about how Brock Purdy can handle the Chiefs defense and how all of those weapons get accounted for because they're all here, right? In the past, when the 49ers have gone, they've been down a guy or two. Now they have McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, and Brock Purdy all on the field at the same time. It's difficult to deal with.
Yeah. Does Brock Purdy get included in the list of superstars, or is he listed because he's surrounded by superstars?
There's an interesting phenomena here, but this debate between not only national analysts, fans. This is something that happens. I look at it a lot like I look at the in and out crowd with the people that I don't want to say defend Brock Purdy, but the people that argue for Brock Purdy is an MVP caliber talent. This is how it goes. If you know In-N-Out fans, you know this to be true.
Like In-N-Out burgers?
Yes.
You're already thinking about that.
Yeah, but this comparison is going to make sense to you.
Okay.
If you tell an In-N-Out fan, I like In-N-Out. I think that In-N-Out is a good burger. If you say, let's go to In-N-Out, I will say, yeah, let's go to In-N-Out because I enjoy it. However, I don't think that it's God's greatest gift to earth the way that Californians do. They take that as you just said, In-N-Out is the worst possible thing that's ever been created. They're like, if you say,
if we're talking about what's God's greatest gift to earth, there is two cults in this country. It's Donald Trump and Taylor Swift, but that's for another day.
That's for another day. Now, if you say, I think that Brock Purdy is a good quarterback, you can't make it in the NFL unless you're good. You would need to be able to throw the ball pretty well.
I think it's a cool story. I mean, I don't know how anyone could not know, but he was Mr. Irrelevant, the final person drafted, last person in the 7th round.
Still living with a roommate now.
Yeah, drafted. He still makes less money than a lot of people that work for the University of Oregon, but literally like 200,000 after taxes, he makes like 350,000, something like that. So like the president's making a lot more than him.
So the train that I'm on here is that if you tell people that think that Brock Purdy is an MVP caliber player right now, that you think that he is a good quarterback, because this is the side I'm on. I think that he is a good quarterback. I think that he's a good guy. I don't have any reason to root against him other than he's a 49er and I would like the 49ers to lose. Now, what I say is I still question whether or not he's the type of quarterback that can prop a team up when they need somebody the most.
No.
Because
especially
Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Trent Williams. Now, if you say those exact words to a person defending Brock Purdy, they'll take that as you just said, Brock Purdy is the worst quarterback that's ever played in the NFL, which is not what anybody is saying at all. It's interesting. I would still like to see, because we have seen him down a weapon this year in 3 games. Do you know what happened in those 3 games?
Not good.
They lost all 3 and he didn't play very well. Now,
and was it the Super Bowl that he lost the feeling in his hands, or no, not Super Bowl? What game was that? It was last year that he lost the feeling in his hands and the championship game, and he just, they were just done.
Brock Purdy?
Yeah.
I guess I'm not familiar with that story.
I can't remember.
I probably should be familiar with that story.
I'm not the sports guy.
He didn't play in the Super Bowl last year.
Not the Super Bowl. It must have been the game before.
The NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
He got hit on the elbow and he had to have surgery.
And just couldn't feel his
Okay, so that is what you're talking about. The NFC Championship game.
They're in the championship game, like to go to the Super Bowl, and here they are. Like basically their best option was to have Christian McCaffrey run out every single play as the quarterback. Like just go into the Wildcat. And I'm just watching this thinking like, is this going to work? I've always loved the idea of just not having a quarterback, just like basically your whole team is 245-pound linebackers and you just hand it off and just like barrel through people. But
here's an interesting thing to do, and I'm not trying to slander Brock Purdy in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, I think he's a good guy. Like you said, it's a great story. This is a I don't normally do hypotheticals, but this is something that I like to do. Take Brock Purdy off of the 49ers and put Justin Herbert there and put Brock Purdy on the Chargers.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's not even funny. Take
Tua Tagovailoa.
That's the thing.
Put him in the 49ers, put Brock Purdy on the Dolphins.
Well, and this is a different conversation, but what about
quarterback?
I mean, Dak Prescott off the, I'm not a believer in Dak Prescott, so you do the same thing with Dak Prescott. And I think it doesn't turn out well.
And that's fair.
You put him on the Jaguars and so I see that. But yeah, Justin Herbert on the 49ers, that's a salary cap nightmare. But
Brock Purdy's about
that's
going to
be a question. Yeah. So what do you do when you pay these guys? I mean, the NFL has gotten to a point where, a lot of times the team that makes it to the Super Bowl and does well, they have this window because the quarterback has to be not getting paid. I know that this is kind of a while ago, and I'm sure that they've redone the way they do the collective bargaining agreement. But with Kaepernick and Russell Wilson, when they came into the league, those two teams, the Niners and the Seahawks, which I know those rivalries well, that they had benefited from not having to pay their quarterback that much because they drafted them in the second or third round. And so for all you teams that are sitting at home this weekend watching the Super Bowl like every other team, then if you need a quarterback, just hope that your team waits until the second round, because the first round you get Trevor Lawrence, you get Bryce Young, you get yes, there's a CJ Stroud in there and there's a Patrick Mahomes in there, if you're lucky, but I think the second and third round is where you get your value.
So who's the most valuable quarterback of this draft?
I haven't even watched, I don't watch as much college football, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the college football video game hasn't existed, and
which
I know
it's
coming back. And so this year, by the time the first kick is done, the first kickoff, I'm going to have invested so much time and be connected and feel ownership over the players, because that's what that game did for people. I'll know more. I'll know more.
When I was in college, it was NCAA 14 that we played, the last one that was made. My college roommates and I had an online dynasty that we played. We must have played. We played somewhere between 17 and 20 full seasons. Yeah. And we recruited our teams. Eventually, there weren't even any more real players in the game anymore.
Yeah, no.
Exactly. It was all generated players that we, like you said, those were our teams.
Pretty funny.
They say Mark Helfrich went to the national championship with Chip's team. I won national championships with my teams.
With teams you recruited. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, those games are so much fun. To answer the question, though, I don't know if I actually will be able to say like the diamond in the rough as far as college quarterbacks coming up, because I don't watch a ton of other teams, but I did see, and it was rough every time. I did watch a lot of Washington Huskies, and Michael Penix, and I'm calling it right now, I think is not going to be a good NFL quarterback. And really? I think that it's because Jaden Daniels, I feel the same thing. I've thought it for a long time that there's these quarterbacks that just look like college quarterbacks, where they kind of have, even if they have a lot of strength in their arm, they still have a noodle arm, like where they're flinging it, but the NFL is changing a little bit, and you can get a little bit smaller, thinner guys, and they can get protected by the lines and also by the refs. But, the reality is that at the end of the day, the guys that are going to be able to stand back there, sometimes it's not as much about height, even it's about just strength. You see like Baker Mayfield proving longevity as a short guy because he's sturdy, but some of these guys, Michael Penix, when he gets hit, it's like, he's like, oh, I did not enjoy that. And then the rest of the game, he's a little bit not the same, is what I've seen. And so, I mean, the Ducks, maybe they just didn't get to him enough, but
the Ducks got to him a lot, actually.
Yeah.
He got banged up against the Ducks and he still won. Where I would go in Michael Penix is that I've actually had some of the same concerns over the season with the ribs, because he seems to get hit in the ribs a lot, and his throwing motion, the ball comes out. I'm off screen doing it because
it's a little bit of a sidearm.
Comes out a sidearm. But I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm not in any way comparing him to this player. I'm just follow my train of thought here.
Sure.
Peyton Manning threw some of the ugliest balls we've ever seen. Wobblers that went straight up into the sky and just came down right in the spot they were supposed to be for the receiver to get there.
Yeah.
And with Penix, he throws it weird. It comes out of the side of his hand. Like you said, it kind of looks like a little bit of a noodle arm. And somehow that ball goes on a rope exactly to where it has to be.
Yeah, there's
for
a guy,
Rome Odunze to catch the ball.
There's a guy that's known for that too.
McMillan to catch the ball.
that's going to be playing tomorrow. There's a guy that, has a stupid haircut that's going to be playing tomorrow that is Patrick Mahomes.
Are you talking about a high pitched voice guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a clip with Patrick Mahomes. They asked him, they said, hey, I'm sure he was so annoyed by this, but they're like, can we hear your Kermit the Frog impersonation? He's like, I'm just going to talk in my normal voice then. And
I want to give a shout out, by the way. I want to get this off of my chest while we're on the Super Bowl. As a media member, I was really disappointed. I don't want to get sad here. I was really disappointed to hear some of the questions that were asked at Media Day.
Yeah.
I was some of these guys, and I don't normally bag on reporters, and I'm not going to bag on them. I'm not going to use names here and individually go after people. But I just want to say, you were credentialed into the Super Bowl media.
Yeah.
And you ask innocent young man that's having the best time of his life right now how he feels that a photo came out that compares him to looking like Lee Harvey Oswald.
What?
Yeah. Somebody
Seriously?
asked Brock Purdy how he feels about a picture that came out that compares him. He looks like Lee Harvey Oswald. And I sat there and listened to it and thought, you're at what
literally asking about conspiracy stuff?
No, like he was just saying like their faces look similar.
Wow.
So they asked him about it. They asked, had you seen it? And he was like, no. And the guy said, how do you feel about it? How do you feel that people say you look like Lee Harvey Oswald? And he was like, he literally went, like you could see it. And it's like, you're asking me how I feel about looking like someone accused of assassinating a president.
Yeah.
What it's
also
stupid
like
thing to ask.
And they're trying to get a soundbite. I mean, I'm not going to talk too much shit because obviously we're just goofing around here too. But there is a point when like you said, a credentialed journalist, it's a little bit different. And I was joking about that Kermit the Frog thing, but the reality is they're asking that stuff. I didn't watch the whole thing.
They also asked him about his dad that got arrested.
Yeah, I mean,
which is I just think is not the right place to put a guy in. I understand journalism is important to ask people questions. And journalism is one of the most important jobs that exist in the world. Like the news journalists that I work with are some of the best people that I know, and they spend hours and hours and hours making sure that a story is right and every fact is correct and both sides have been told and every facet of it's been dug into. But I just think there's a time and place for certain questions, and Super Bowl Media Day.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Isn't the place for those?
It is, and some, it's a mix. That's the thing. It's also for the entertainment for the fans and for kids and for conspiracy nuts to get their jollies off. I don't know. It shouldn't be a place for conspiracies and stuff, and that's what they're kind of trying to get at. And I know it. That they're trying to like, okay, we if we can get Lee Harvey Oswald in the conversation. And I know that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are going to announce their baby at halftime as Biden comes down from space. And even though he's incompetent and can't walk, but he will float down. And then, it gets really, really wild. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers went in the dark room in my home area. One day we woke up and heard Aaron Rodgers was in the dark room in Ashland, Oregon.
Pretty sure after 3 days when Aaron Rodgers resurrected from that dark room, he was not the same person. And we're going to just leave it at that.
Have you ever seen the TikTok of the raccoon that slides open the dumpster door? And it says Aaron Rodgers emerging from the dark room. And it's this, somebody pushes a dumpster open. Like it's like a big green dumpster with a side door, and they push it open. And there's a raccoon that's got both of he's standing up on his hind legs. He's got both of his hands against the door, and he just like stands there in broad daylight, and he's just like basking in the sun.
And that's what it looked like. That's what it looks like. Anyway, okay. So prediction 17-14 Chiefs. What is your final score? Did you say it already?
No, I didn't. We really went off the rails there.
We did. Thank you, Aaron Rodgers.
It concerns me that the 49ers are one of the most talented football teams that have ever existed. It concerns me that they fall behind. I don't think that the Chiefs are a team you can fall behind and come back against, because the Chiefs have that comeback magic themselves. I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'm going to take them 31-21.
31-21, 10-point win. I have $5 that they're going to win by exactly 11. That's what happened in the last time that they played. And so that's I've got a bunch of random scoreboards. I like that you can bet on squares, so you can pick the final score of each quarter or the game, so it's progressive. You can win 4 times. But I picked it's only the final number, but I picked 113 and 112 because I think that it's just they're gonna score every single time, and it's gonna be like a basketball game. They're gonna no. Anyway, hey, Cameron Derby sports director for KEZI.
You got it.
Cameron Derby, sports director for KEZI 9 in Eugene and Springfield. Thank you so much for being a guest. Thank you for always being willing to do these. I know that you get to be on the actual television, so it's cool that you just come on and just get to be on like YouTube and Facebook with me.
I enjoy doing this. This is so much fun. It's a lot less pressure. Just sit down and talk ball.
That's right. And then enjoy the game, guys. And hey, thank you all so much for supporting. And if you'd like to donate to the podcast, you can go to strpod.com.